Giselle is giving Karen. I feel like Giselle is a Karen. Giselle has way too much power. And the sole reason why Giselle does not like Candace, does not like Wendy, is because she cannot manipulate them into being her little fan club.
Melanie, that's scary with Melanie. Come on, here we go.
Welcome to a bonus episode of the That's Scary with Melanie podcast. We're here today to talk about Gizelle Bryant and the cast of Real Housewives of Potomac. Listen, this is the That's Scary with Melanie P podcast. I am Melanie P. Before I go any further, make sure you subscribe and make sure you share, comment, like, and follow me on Instagram. Now listen, it is nighttime. I am tired. I have worked all day. I'm having me a little bit of Southern edge. And I was working and minding my business like I always do, preparing for the tomorrow's podcast episode that's dropping at noon and every Thursday at noon. And I happened to be looking at social media and I saw a headline that said Gizelle Bryant doesn't feel safe riding in a Sprinter with Candace and Wendy, her castmates, right? So here's the thing. I am a big fan of the Real Housewives of Potomac. I typically watch every single Sunday because I actually love the franchise. I love the ladies. I think it's very entertaining. This season, I have to admit that I haven't been watching as much. And when I saw that headline, it moved me to come here tonight and have a conversation about Giselle. Giselle's getting on my nerves. Giselle is getting on my nerves, and she's not getting on my nerves. She has gotten on my nerves, and she's still in the active nerve getting motion. Okay. Giselle is giving Karen. I feel like Giselle is a Karen. Giselle has way too much power. And the sole reason why Giselle does not like Candace and does not like Wendy is because she cannot manipulate them into being her little fan club, the way all the other ladies are, minus the Grand Dame. Here's the thing. About a season or two ago, if you recall, there was something about the whole Happy Eddie situation. And, you know, Giselle calls herself looking out for Wendy and trying to tell Wendy about her own husband while she doesn't have one. And, you know, it led Wendy as a wife, as a mother, as someone that has her own brain, to really read Giselle to filth. You know, like I have to say, on all of the seasons past and current seasons, the read that Wendy gave to Giselle that night, oh my God. If you guys recall the scene, she went in on Giselle. And I feel like that's when Giselle truly started to not like Wendy. And the same thing with Candace. So she doesn't like Candace and she's afraid of Candace because last season, Giselle told a bull-faced lie and said that she felt uncomfortable with, Candace's husband wanting to have a conversation with her behind closed doors. And she alluded to the fact that, she felt unsafe. She felt as though it could be a sexual harassment giving situation. And, again, these are wives with husbands and they, respect their husbands and they're going to protect their husbands in the way that we have seen their husbands protect them. And rightfully so, Candace was not happy with Giselle's accusation because we get it. We have to be entertaining. We have to keep the show on air and keep, the show on the blogs and all that stuff. But accusing someone's husband of potential sexual harassment and then not even owning it in the slightest when you got caught, I don't respect it. I said this before on previous reviews of The Real Housewives of Potomac, is that Candace and Wendy are extremely intelligent women. They're the kind of women that do not have to fight with their physical hands, but they can fight you and beat you down to a pulp with their words and their education. And that is really what Robyn and Gizelle lack. Here is the thing. Giselle does not like Wendy and Candace, not because she's afraid of them to hurt her on a van, on a production. She doesn't like them because she cannot get them to do what she wants. They're too smart. They outsmart her. They have the lives that she wants, and she cannot manipulate them. Here's the thing. She manipulates Robyn. We all know it. Robyn is her minion. I truly feel like, I'm not a fan of either of them, just to be honest. I feel like they just take it too far. I feel like Robyn and Giselle really give Karen. I think they're truly, truly Karens. And this is a prime example of how, Karen is not a word that's just reserved for white people. Karen can be black people. And I truly feel like that title is fitting for Giselle and Robyn. So I feel like, even though I don't like either one of them, I feel like Robyn would probably be different if Giselle wasn't there on the show. Robyn is one of those personalities that latch on to a stronger personality and then kind of uses them to be her voice. And Giselle knows that. Giselle, she's not stupid. Giselle wants to be on the show. Giselle feels as though she has power. Here's the thing. How have you been on this show every season with no man, no husband, and these fake husbands and men every season? And again, when Wendy read her 2 seasons ago, she brought that up. And again, this is the Housewives. This is the Real Housewives of Potomac, and their banter includes shading and reading each other. But Giselle and Robyn, they're just not up to par when it comes to the reads and when it comes to, the ability that Candace and Wendy have to talk them in circles and leave them with nothing to say, Now, the one thing I did not like that Candace said to Giselle, and this is just my own personal opinion, on last season's reunion when Candace was saying that, she's sitting there with her white looking ass and her white privilege. I did not like that. That really gave me cringe. That really made me cringe because it's just something about that scene, that sentence that she put out there on national TV that I just did not like. Because to me, and I could be totally wrong, but to me, her saying that made me feel as though she felt that Giselle is better than her. Now, again, that is my own perception. I could be totally off. But to me, when she said, with your white looking ass and your privilege, no, she doesn't have any privilege, because if she had privilege, she would be in your shoes, and that's why she's jealous of you. If she truly had the privilege that, Candace thinks that she has, she would be married in a nice house with, her husband, living a good life, just like Monique was, and just like Candace and Wendy are. And that is why any woman that comes on the show that has a mind of their own, that has money of their own, that has a healthy appearing marriage, a solid appearing marriage, they never ever get along with Giselle and just by default Robyn. Now, I feel like Ashley, I was going to touch on Ashley. So I guess she can stay, but I feel like with Ashley, she is the kind of person that's she's there to get her check. I don't think she's really loyal to anybody, but I feel like she sees power and favoritism on the side of Giselle and Robyn. So I feel like she tends to lean more towards that side, but I saw her very differently last season when she began to take up for Wendy in a couple of scenes. and, speak to Wendy's defense. So I feel like she doesn't really have a loyalty to anybody. I feel like she kind of leans over more to the side of the Green-Eyed Bandits, but I feel like if they go too far, she will kind of try to reel it back. The Grand Dame, I feel kind of not the same, but kind of. So I feel like the Grand Dame, she's just a level above all the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? She has her, Black Bill Gates. She has her happy life. Her alleged side piece, we don't know. I don't know if I believe that. But anyway, she's comfortable in her skin. She is very well spoken, and I think the same goes for Candace and Wendy as to the fact that she knows how to use her words to get at Gizelle and Robyn. Now, it looks weird, and I guess I understand that the Grand Dame and Giselle have been friends way before the show. I think that Candace and Wendy are just meeting Giselle in the show. So I feel like there's a little bit more of an established relationship with the Grand Dame. So, she has leniency. They fight, they bicker, they get back together. They fight, they bicker, they get back together. But that is a pure example of, here's another cast member that you had issues with, that you guys gave the lowest blows, the lowest insults. I mean, the Grand Dame called her some type of fire crotch and completely lied on her and admitted to lying on her and apologized, but yet she can still forgive the Grand Dame. She still wants to shoot scenes with the Grand Dame, and there's no issue. But you accuse another castmate's husband of some type of sexual assault, or allude to sexual, not assault, that's too strong, but some type of he made me feel uncomfortable and he wanted to see if I was with it. Girl, you are lying. Nothing in me believes that for nothing. You're purely lying. But you did something wrong. You continue to talk behind her back and to perpetuate this you felt unsafe narrative the whole season. And because she just called you out on the truth, now you're afraid of her. Giselle was saying that she had been getting death threats to her home, and she was saying that Candace, with her colorism accusations, that she had put her and her kids in danger, because people have been really upset about Giselle potentially, allegedly being a colorist. And so she's using that as a reason as to why she doesn't want to film with Candace and to why she's, afraid. But here is the thing. You are on a show where people are paid to live their lives in the same way that your best friend, Robyn, did not live her life on the camera. And you have a job. Imagine if we went to our jobs tomorrow and we said, you know what, Sarah, I don't like her, so I'm not going to work with her today. Or I don't like John, so I'm just not going to work on this collaboration team with him. He can go work with somebody else. Imagine us telling our bosses that we're not going to work with one of our coworkers. That would not fly. Giselle has a job. And I'm just so curious, what type of hold does she have on Bravo, the producers, and the network, that she not only gets to stay on the show and choose who she films with, but not truly bring anything to the show but division, and also get be a part of a spinoff. She was also on a talk show, the After Dark thing with Portia and the other girls. It just makes you think, what is it about Giselle? And I guess I understand Giselle keeps the mess going, but I feel like she's gone too far. I feel like she's truly, truly gone too far. You're on a cast with Black women. And to me, as a Black woman, if the topic of colorism comes up on this type of platform, and if you were truly a girl's girl and a girl of the people and a girl, all those things, that would make you angry in the way that you want to learn and you want to be educated. You don't appear in the world the way that Wendy and Candace do. So you cannot, in the same thing, when this whole colorism conversation came up, Giselle pretended, and I know for sure she was pretending not to know what Candace was talking about, not to know what colorism is, and blah, 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 and to say that she wasn't. But I applaud the Grand Dame because she is of a lighter complexion, and she might not have agreed with, the title of colorist for anybody on the show. But because she is not experiencing life the way those two women are, she respected them, the culture, the show, the platform enough to be open to have the conversation, to empathize, to be self-aware, and to look in the mirror and be like, you know what? I don't see this because that's not my experience, but because my Black sister does see this, let me use this opportunity to understand the impact that my words could have on these two women. Even Ashley kind of had those same sentiments. You know what I'm saying? Like, she denied being a colorist, but she was kind of open to understand and to educate. But to me, this is so much writing on the wall. Like, Ray Charles could see what's happening. Giselle is just so problematic to me. I just feel like she's so problematic. I understand that, every show, every franchise needs the villain. Every franchise needs that person that is going to bring the shits and bring the drama. And I think that those girls could get there without Giselle, without Robyn. And I'm just, again, I've said a million times, I'm just surprised that Robyn is even back this season. Like, she totally left a whole bulk of her storyline out that they are paid for. Like, this is a job. Like, at the end of the day, I understand that this is a fun job. This is a job that leads to other jobs, but this is ultimately a job. Like, you cannot not perform and expect to continue to have that job. So yeah, Giselle is just getting on my last nerve. She is getting on my last nerve. And I think that she is one of the words that's not in her dictionary and not in her word, bank in her brain is accountability. She is not accountable. She is not accountable. She is not accountable. She is not accountable. She feels like she has some sort of favoritism now. She's sleeping with somebody at Bravo. Is she sleeping with Andy? Like let us know, because it's just not adding up. The math is not mathing. Her and Robyn gotta go. I'm just really, 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 truly over it. My ask to Giselle, if she has to say, would be to stop dividing the cast. I actually have not even been watching the show a lot this season because the division is just too much. Giselle is older than I feel like Wendy and Candace, and she's acting like a little schoolgirl. Like, these are your coworkers, these are your peers. You have a job to do. You're not afraid of them. You're not afraid of what they'll do to you. You're afraid of them not following you. You're afraid of them reading you and them putting your ass to the fire the way you put everybody else to the fire. Even your best friend, Robyn. Like, this season, she has clearly, to me, not been the best friend to Robyn that Robyn thinks she is. I think that she has truly showed that she has a loyalty to nobody either on the show. Like, she just wants to secure her spot, even if it's at the embarrassment of her friend and her friend's cheating husband. She really made Robyn look stupid, but she's a manipulator enough to make it appear as though she did it from a place of concern and a place of love. No, you did it because you wanted to create a storyline. You wanted to include yourself in the storyline, and you wanted to do it at your best friend's expense. I think that Giselle and Robyn are always plotting before the season starts. I feel like they're always plotting on who they're going to gang up on. I know that, Robyn and Candace, who were very, very close, are no longer talking. And I think that Giselle has a big part in that. I think that because Candace and Giselle are not talking, that makes it more easier, in proper English, for Robyn to not be, friends with Candace. Like, y'all are too old for this, Get over it and go to the next thing. If you want to secure your bag, read the room. People are upset. People are tired of your shit. And people think that you are a colorist. Read the room. And if people truly are out here giving you death threats, and people, you're not stupid. You have a podcast yourself. You know what I'm saying? So you know what the vibes are. You know what the energy in the room is when it comes to you and colorism and your dislike for dark-skinned women, your dislike for married women, your dislike for anybody that doesn't look like they need you or have something fit. That's why her and Charisse get along so well. She looks at Charisse and she looks at Charisse like she's just some ugly ogre, and she has no use for her. But Charisse don't like the Grand Dame, and she doesn't even value Charisse. She doesn't value Charisse. She has no value for Charisse. She's just one of her puppets. And Charisse is Charisse is happy because she can be a friend of the show through Gizelle and Robyn, and Charisse is not a threat to them in any way, so she doesn't mind having them around. Now, the real interesting part is the new cast member, and I don't want to mess up her name. I want to say it's Nanika. The other Nigerian young lady. Right now, she's on the side of the Green-Eyed Bandits because her and Wendy are not getting along. But I just feel like she is married, she is young, she is rich, she is beautiful, and I feel like it won't be long before they come for her. Again, pay attention to the pattern. Anybody that comes on that show or is on that show and looks and appears to be married happily, doing well, has a brain, has a brain of their own, Giselle don't like, and by default, Robyn end up not liking them. They fuck with Mia because they don't see Mia as a threat. They know that Mia and Gordon are probably gonna break up. They know that Mia be lying and she's kind of like a joke to them. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they don't really respect Mia. So they allow her to hang around. I like Mia. Actually, I think Mia, Candace, and Wendy and the Grand Dame are like my favorite. You know what I'm saying? I like Mia a lot. But I just feel like Giselle is not loyal to anybody and they don't respect her. So I wanted to come on and just have that conversation. Dear Giselle, when you read this or when you listen to this podcast, and I know you will, just understand that if you're going to be on this show, even if you're not going to be on the show, educate yourself about colorism, educate yourself about empathy, educate yourself with the word of accountability, and, stop being a toxic person. Maybe things will come better to you in your life if you stop being such a sneaky, toxic person. That is all I got, y'all. I don't have any more. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you are following me on Instagram. That's scary_podcast. Make sure the QR code is scrolling across the screen throughout the show to get your Southern Edge liquor, black owned, black everything. For this liquor, it is the sweet tea vodka and the salted caramel whiskey. It's everything. Support black businesses, support this podcast. Click on that QR code or the link in the description. Order your sweet tea vodka or your whiskey, salted caramel whiskey. Put Melanie P in the promo code and get that bottle shipped to you free in 3 to 4 days. I have had so many people reach out to me, and I'm going to put a text on the screen from someone that said they bought 2 bottles and it was good as hell. I would not lie to you. I'm a connoisseur of drinking and I have not had any other liquor, purchased any other liquor other than Southern Edge since I tasted it in December. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you on the next episode.